A lot of investors told me अरे तुम IIT से होते तो तुम्हें हम पैसे दे देते। आज मुझे समझ आता है वो क्यों बोली गई थी मुझे ये बात, बट मुझे किसी ने पैसे नहीं दिए।
बीटेक तो सिर्फ मैं एक डिग्री के लिए कर रहा हूँ सो दैट माई पेरेंट्स आर हैप्पी.
Entrepreneurship, like how you pursue an engineering career. When you pursue an engineering career, the mental framework is that the career itself will push you into a trajectory. Entrepreneurship में you have to figure out a lot. Netflix की सीरीज देख के मुझे नहीं लगता इंट्रिंसिक मोटिवेशन आती है. I remember someone escalated this कि राहुल के राउंड में सिर्फ 30 लोग जाते हैं, एक सेलेक्ट करता है. इतने लोग रिजेक्ट हो रहे हैं. And I raised the question, इतने लोग रिजेक्ट क्यों हो रहे हैं? Then I spoke to a lot of my friends at big techs. They said we are struggling with the same problem. सारे प्रोडक्ट्स बेकार हैं. इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है. मेरे को शार्क टैंक का फॉर्म ही नहीं भरना था. आई वॉज एक्चुअली एक्साइटेड टू सी फिल्म सिटी.
If you had to write one question that every technical interview should always include, what is it?
Tell me the toughest problem that you have solved and explain it to me as if it was a 100-mark question.
Dipinder said ditto, ये मेरा छोटा भाई है. I think that's what he called you. Vinita said sharpest picture. Aman said rocket saying. If you could only be remembered by one of these three, which is your favorite one?
Sharpest picture.
Today we have someone whom you have already seen on the Shark Tank as well, who have taken this problem heads on, and we're gonna talk in depth about how the future of hiring looks like. So allow me to welcome Mr. Rahul. Rahul, thanks for being here today, of taking out the time. We'll talk more about you. आपकी पूरी जर्नी के बारे में बात करेंगे. We have a lot of things to tell about you. But to start with, मैं चाहूँगा कि आप ये जो 18 साल का, 19 साल का, 20 साल का एंड यंग प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, उसको अगर आपको खुद को इंट्रोड्यूस करना होगा एक जेनजी स्टाइल में, हाउ डू यू इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ टू दीस फोक्स?
Thank you for having me. Honestly, it's a pleasure to be here. I don't know Gen Zs को introduce कैसे करते हैं, but I'll just say hi everybody. I am Rahul. I'm a builder at heart. I really enjoy building things. Ultimately, the idea is to have an impact on the world. Money is a byproduct. That is how I would, that's the best way I can introduce myself.
Awesome. So Rahul के लिए, if I have to put around, there's so many things that we can talk around, right? Rahul, we can talk about your earlier journeys. You have been also part of the, around the COVID era where you're part of the Paytm and that your whole QR thing came up. You were in the Shark Tank. I think that was one of the very high view episode that came up. Dipinder will coined you few terms. We'll talk about it. We'll also talk about what happened post it and how the interview IO is right now disrupting the way how the interviews is done around the world. But we'll take a baby steps. So everybody know who you are today after this Shark Tank episode and all the things you're doing today. But थोड़ा पीछे जाते हैं because all of us had some baby steps and that's how we started. How was Rahul in school? Growing up 4th, 5th, 6th, how confident you were you clear what you wanted to become? थोड़ा सा बताओ आपकी how was your early years of your life?
Yeah, I typical Indian middle class family. My family wanted me to become engineer या डॉक्टर या इंजीनियर. उस टाइम पे आई डोंट नो अब क्या चाहती है इंडियन फैमिलीज, बट डॉक्टर इंजीनियर, टिपिकल मिडिल क्लास इंडियन फैमिली. स्कूल जाओ, पढ़ो, स्टूडियस रहो. सो टिल 4th, 5th, 6th, आई रिमेंबर 7th grade तक आई वाज क्लास टॉपर. एंड मैंने से टॉपर फर्स्ट, सेकंड, थर्ड भी अगर आ रहा हूँ तो डांट पड़ती थी घर से, तो फर्स्ट ही आता था. उसके बाद गेटिंग टू अ पॉइंट वेयर यू आर एबल टू परस्यू some sort of technical career, so went into engineering.
Okay, tell me one thing, like, so when you were in school, because your parents were very clear that you don't want to do it, and normally as a human we have जो चीज़ के लिए आपको उस एज में मना किया जाता है, सबसे ज़्यादा आप उसी तरफ अट्रैक्टेड होते हो. Do you feel is it because you have seen your parents working in a startup that motivated you to take that direction, or because parents मना कर रहे थे तो आपको लगा था कुछ तो अच्छा है इसमें, जो वजह से पेरेंट्स शायद अभी मना कर रहे हैं करने को, कुछ तो इसमें ग्लैमरस सा है. So now you are in college, it's first year of engineering, and now you have getting little clarity कि मुझे लाइफ में और क्या करना है, क्या पढ़ना है. While we are doing some background study, we identified that you tried to do some startup in the college itself. What was that and how it started?
So this was almost second year it started from college, and I had no coding background, no coding knowledge.
Okay.
So I kind of outsource. तो हमने we decided to build a mobile recharge website because back in the day Paytm, Freecharge, and there was another website called Recharge It Now. They used to do pretty well, and my idea was कि रिचार्ज करते हैं बिकॉज पूरे हिंदुस्तान को रिचार्ज कराना है, और अगर रिचार्ज करवा देंगे तो वहाँ से जो लोग आएंगे उसका एक लॉन्ग टेल मॉडल बनाएंगे और उसके पीछे का पूरा एक ई-कॉमर्स मार्केट प्लेस खोल देंगे.
Okay.
एंड रिचार्ज वाज लाइक अ वेरी इजी लो कैक सॉर्ट ऑफ अ मॉडल जहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग क्वांटम में इकट्ठे हो सकते हैं.
Yeah.
तो वी स्टार्टेड अ मोबाइल रिचार्ज वेबसाइट, बट I was so bad in coding, I had to outsource the tech, which was the most foolish thing to do, but the website had a lot of bugs. We gained early customers, but I had to shut the website down because I had no money to afford an outsource company, coding the product for us. And तब पैसे कमाता भी नहीं था मैं, कुछ पैसे कमाता नहीं था, तो we had to shut the show.
कि कितने दिन तक चला था?
लगभग 1 साल.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the main reason? Like typically you were not able to do that product market fit, पैसे नहीं बन पा रहे थे.
कुछ भी नहीं कर पाया मैं. कुछ भी नहीं कर पाया. ना मैं ठीक से प्रोडक्ट बना पाया, ना मेरे को डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन क्रैक करना आया, ना मुझे टीम बनानी आई, ना ही मुझे ये फिगर आउट करना आया कि फाइनेंशियली मैं इस कंपनी को स्टेबल कैसे रख सकता हूँ. all the low hanging, I only went to the low hanging fruits. मैंने बाहर जाके ये फिगर आउट नहीं करा उस टाइम पे कि एक्चुअली मैं और क्या क्या एक्स चीजें मैं कर सकता हूँ इसको सर्वाइव करवाने के लिए. मैंने वो फिगर आउट नहीं करा एंड जस्ट डिसाइड टू शट द शो.
So what happens post that? That is now you're in second year and you have closed your first venture of your
Yeah.
life. This heartened you कि यार I'm not ready for this. अब पढ़ाई कर लेता हूँ. Job would be a better choice.
नहीं,
Like,
ऐसा नहीं लगा कभी कि पढ़ाई कर लेता हूँ. पढ़ाई ऑफ कोर्स दैट वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोसेस, बट ऐसा लगा कि अब अगला ऐसा क्या करूँ जो चल जाए.
okay.
वो थॉट आया दिमाग में.
Perfect. So 4 साल electronics and communication. The first job did you take a job after your engineering? Like what was your first?
नहीं, आई डिड इट इन द स्टार्टअप.
Okay.
वो भी शट डाउन हो गया.
Okay. What was that?
It was a designer stationery startup.
That you started after the college or within the college itself?
Last semester of college.
Last
semester of college, and it went till almost.
And was it with the same set of the people you did at the first go, or you were a solopreneur?
Solopreneur.
Okay.
Solopreneur. वो startup भी shut down हो गया because वो startup एक level तक गया. उस startup के लिए मैं funding भी raise करने गया था.
Okay.
And back in the day, this is 2013.
Okay.
Lot of इंडिया में उस वक्त एंजल इन्वेस्टर वाज नॉट अ थिंग. 2013 की अगर आप बात करो, इंडिया में आज भी सीरीज ए वेंचर कैपिटल फर्म्स बहुत कम है, लेकिन उस टाइम पे अ लॉट ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स टोल्ड मी अरे तुम आईआईटी से होते तो तुम्हें हम पैसे दे देते. आई डोंट नो वो पैसे आज मुझे समझ आता है वो क्यों बोली गई थी मुझे ये बात, बट मुझे किसी ने पैसे नहीं दिए एंड आई वाज प्रीटी मच बूटस्ट्रैप्ड, काइंड ऑफ अर्नड somewhat through the business, but मुझे ये समझ में आ गया कि I don't have enough capital, nobody is giving me capital right now. The ecosystem has to shape up and there were a lot of struggles that were happening. So I thought we should just shut shop. I should do a job for some time, save some money and then start up.
Perfect. So now this is a very ideal case. So what's your take on it?
First of all, if I had to tell you my college, like how was I studious in college, I was not. Not at all. I was a very extracurricular sort of a person कि ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, ये भी सीखना है, वो भी सीखना है. But I think the ideology after the first startup failed, which was in the second year, was to fail fast and learn every damn thing. And it was like very very clear in my head कि भाई जो करना है अभी fail हो जाते हैं, जो learning लेनी है अभी learning ले लेते हैं. And that was the ideology. I honestly think अगर मुझे आज if I were there in Bhubaneswar or any other college for that matter, I would have definitely told students कि पहले तो get into entrepreneurship if you have intrinsic motivation. कोई एक बड़ा वजह होना चाहिए. It is not, entrepreneurship can't be pursued like how you pursue an engineering career, because when you pursue an engineering career, the mental framework is that the career itself will push you into a trajectory. Entrepreneurship, you have to figure out a lot, and you need to have intrinsic motivation. So I think anybody who's getting into entrepreneurship should have intrinsic motivation. Netflix की series देख के मुझे नहीं लगता intrinsic motivation आती है. It is deep rooted. Secondly, मुझे लगता है you have to fail very very fast to figure out life. And वही life lessons you apply when you are building. And I also think you have to become a figure it out person. Eventually and failing fast is the only way to you become a figure it out person, because you gain that sort of an exposure.
Perfect. So now moving ahead, one big journey, part of your journey has been when you were the part of Paytm, I think, and that too, the demonetization phase where it gives a moral flavor to all these companies who are into the digitalized currency transfer. You are in 2027, you're interviewing for Paytm. Can you help me enumerate what are the few 4-5 skill set that you have already mastered, which you felt that I have by this time, with your own journey of startup and also doing work for the other companies, and what the time that you spent? By 2017, what all skill set that you have already mastered, you feel that, I had this, I could rate myself at least 3 out of 5 in those skill set?
I think in tech, I would start with tech because I was doing a tech job at Paytm. So in tech, I would probably rate myself like a 9.5 on 10 because I pretty much cracked it despite I learned coding the way I did after my first startup failed. So tech was cracked. Secondly, I think I was always a core builder. So Paytm के time पे भी when I was working at Paytm, I was building something. अगर आप मेरा प्रोफाइल देखोगे, if anybody looks at my resume, they'll call me a job hopper.
Okay.
Because मेरा कहीं जगह मन ही नहीं लगा. Because every time I would go do a job, I would build something alongside. वो काफी चीजें चली नहीं, काफी चीजें I had to discontinue because of whatever. But the second thing that I would say apart from tech that in my head I had cracked is the passion behind building something. So I would rate myself like a 10 on 10.
Okay.
Those were the two skills I had. Every other skill I kind of acquired post Paytm era.
Okay. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा उसको डीप डाइव करते हैं because this is an interesting time in the whole Paytm journey. And you said that inside Paytm also you had that builder wala attitude. That was a time when Paytm was seeing an insane growth trajectory. If you can enlighten few points, how does the the war rooms look like? How was the entire atmosphere of the coding? How big was your team? What exact initiative that you're working on, if you can? I think that helps people understand that the early stage startup, typically I think Paytm was at that stage, I'll call it a startup itself, and it was seeing a massive growth, right?
Yeah.
So how was the atmosphere that time, and typically what you were doing exactly with Paytm?
So I was a senior software engineer at
Okay.
Paytm. I was working with their net banking and QR code team
Mm-hmm.
to ship out a lot of net banking features for the merchants and QR codes for the B2C people who today use QR codes to transfer using UPI and everything. लेकिन इस दौरान I remember the floor at which I used to work in Noida. It was a huge floor. I think the noisiest floor ever that I have seen.
Okay.
Noisiest.
Okay.
And good noise. When I say noisiest, it's good noise. It was not like corporate quietness. It was good noise. Everybody wanted to build something. Every team kind of had their huddle very, very loudly. They would brainstorm ideas. कहीं पे कुछ चल रहा है, कहीं पे ideas brainstorm हो रहे हैं, कहीं पे TV चल रहा है, कहीं पे literally एक दूसरी team बैठी हुई है जो probably ticketing business देख रही है.
Yeah.
Noisiest floor ever. That taught me that floor पे when you are building a startup, there has to be momentum on the floor,
Right.
because people eat away from each other's momentum and build on. And वो जब momentum I think आप एक बार ही taste कर लेते हो, you would not want to work from home. You would want to come
Yeah.
on the floor and
Yeah.
build. That is what Paytm taught me. I think Paytm taught me how to actually hustle while you're doing a job. It was a very fast moving job.
Did you get some FaceTime with Mr. Vijay Shekhar?
Yeah,
any
I
times?
did. It was once when we were going to launch this net banking. He was supposed to press the button to launch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for Paytm, there's always a discussion that goes around. You also mentioned that you love that energy and the flow that was there. But then again, you leave Paytm as well. How and why?
Yeah, I just wanted to move to another company to learn more because whatever I had to learn from Paytm, I had learned.
But Paytm as a company, didn't you think that there might be other teams, different org, where there could be much learning opportunity, or you find it tough to switch teams inside and easier outside? That's who took that route?
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. The kind of opportunity that I was getting post Paytm was leading and managing a different team altogether. Paytm,
Okay.
I was an individual contributor. I wanted to.
So what was the next? What your next move after Paytm?
So I became an engineering lead at this company called Deutsche Telekom.
Okay.
Now this was pretty interesting job because they were building for European market for 11 countries in Europe, but they were setting an R&D center here in India. And the rush to join that job was that I was the first few engineers to join that R&D center. We had to build that R&D center from scratch.
Okay.
But they were building every product from scratch.
Okay.
Every product. And the rush was that not only you'll get to build the team from scratch, you'll get to build products from scratch.
Yeah.
Which will help you kind of, get newer skills, acquire newer skills that you don't have in the Paytm at Paytm while working at Paytm.
And this is what year?
This is again 2018, 2019 somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. So now you are hopping jobs one after the another. While you have been doing it, now the world doesn't know. What are the top learnings so far now? So what Rahul has learned so far कि क्या गलत हो रहा है या फिर क्या workout नहीं हो रहा है, or we have yet not identified
top
that.
learning post Paytm while I was building that side hustle, it tanked, was boss, you need to have convincing skills. Acquire the convincing skills. Learn how to convince people to believe in your vision. If you can't get people to believe in your vision, they'll go to somebody else who has stronger convincing power, because money can't solve all your problems. So this was a very clear learning. Keep your team together because team does it all.
Right. So Rahul, I have another counter question to this, because every time I talk to a lot of founders, and I can correlate with my journey itself. Most of the time when I talk to the people, they feel that when you have a B option, right, when you always have a job to fall back to, sometimes you don't give your 200% to it, right? All this time you always had some fallback options, right? ये job कर रहा हूँ, साथ में कर रहा हूँ, अगर ये हो जाएगा तो I'll do it. Do you think that could also have been the reason where, because you always had a fallback option to put up and you always had कि ये नहीं चलेगा तो मैं यहाँ पे job कर लूँगा, was one of the reason maybe that could not have worked?
मेरे केस में ऐसा नहीं था बिकॉज आई वॉज होल हार्टेडली इनटू इट. थिंग्स जस्ट कुडंट फॉल इनटू प्लेस बिकॉज आई डिड नॉट हैव दैट स्किल. अगर मेरे को वो फॉल बैक की तरह ट्रीट ही करना होता, as a person I would not have clocked like 15-16 hours every day. I would not
Okay.
have. I would probably have gone with like a 9 to 10 hour working schedule, and probably would not have even have gone building few days, few weeks also, or maybe
Right.
months. I would have just chilled. But there was no plan B in my head. In my head it was always like, okay, get to that enough savings fast, acquire those skills fast. You have to build.
Fair. So now you're in telecom, and now tell me what's goes next, and now how far you are from the final one where you
So
are working here.
about 2 years. This is when I was building my own team at Deutsche Telekom. I realized engineering hiring is such a pain
Hmm.
because we were building a team of
And this is what year? 2018?
2019 के आसपास.
2019 है.
19 20 19 के मिड में या 20 के स्टार्ट में. It was like you have to now build your team, and I remember I used to take a lot of tech interviews.
Okay.
And I remember someone escalated this कि राहुल के राउंड में सिर्फ 30 लोग जाते हैं, एक सेलेक्ट करता है. इतने लोग रिजेक्ट हो रहे हैं. एंड आई रेज द क्वेश्चन, इतने लोग रिजेक्ट क्यों हो रहे हैं? टॉप ऑफ द फनल सही नहीं है, क्वालिटी कैंडिडेट्स नहीं आ रहे. एंड दिस होल कॉन्वर्सेशन स्टार्टेड अराउंड कि हाउ टू गेट क्वालिटी कैंडिडेट्स, व्हाट आर द प्रोडक्ट्स दैट आर देयर इन द मार्केट, likes of your assessment products, there are a bunch of them in the market, likes of your interviewing platforms, there are a bunch of them in the market. Despite using all of those, why are you not able to get quality people? And वहाँ से एक आइडिया आया कि why don't we solve this? And we started building a product, and parallelly I started to research across the market, और मुझे पता लगा the whole market is bleeding. This is pre-COVID era.
Okay.
जब इतनी हायरिंग हुई भी नहीं थी. कोविड के टाइम पे बहुत ज़्यादा हायरिंग हो गई थी, and that anomaly had to be corrected. But Paytm से pre-COVID era में इतनी ज़्यादा हायरिंग हो रही थी, वहाँ पे भी it was a pain in the ass. And then I spoke to a lot of my friends at big techs. They said we are struggling with the same problem. Then I was like, why is not any existing product solving for this problem? And that's when interview was born.
Okay. So before actually starting, like 6 महीने का, if I can understand, you did some market research, reach out to the people. कितना time लगा यार? एक
साल तक हमने पूरा प्रोडक्ट बनाया, उसके पैरेलली मार्केट रिसर्च भी किया, सब
और
कुछ.
before you starting, like did you identify few competition? कोई था उस space पे?
bunch of them बहुत सारे थे.
And then why you still feel that there's a need?
सारे प्रोडक्ट्स बेकार थे.
Okay.
इसलिए we just felt that बहुत बड़ा गैप है, क्योंकि प्रोडक्ट्स या
So
तो
when you officially resign and you get started full time with
this was 2021.
2021. So now you're not working anywhere.
Not
You're
working
full time
anywhere,
into
now I'm
this.
full time, yes.
And it's bootstrap right now. So you're putting
It's
your own
bootstrap.
savings.
Putting my own money, surviving through my own money. It was completely bootstrapped.
Perfect. So we'll come and go deep dive around this. And I think that's the whole topic of discussion today, because जो पूरी जनता तो देख रही है वो इंटरव्यू में इंटरेस्टेड है, उनको आपके सॉल्यूशन में भी है कि आप क्या लेके आ रहे हो. बिकॉज यू आर सेइंग बाकी सब बकवास है, दैट पुट्स अ लॉट ऑफ आईब्रोज इन की व्हाई यू आर सेइंग बाकी सारा बकवास है. सो विल टॉक ऑन इट. बट वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग इन दैट where we have seen you, as an audience and as a fan. Shark Tank. ये कैसे होता है? Like, did you, so for example, when I was running my company, we also thought of that we'll try to go on Shark Tank. But then there was a thing going in the mind, कि I don't know whether we'll go or will not go, but in that process itself, I'll spend some time, जहाँ पे मेरा काफ़ी सारा टाइम चला जाएगा उसके प्रिपरेशन में. और मेरा ईयर 1 चल रहा है, आई हैव अ लेजर फोकस कि मुझे फंड्स उठाना है, मुझे ये स्केल करना है, वो करना है. तो that option was there, we didn't apply it at all, right? I'm coming to you that how did the Shark Tank came up? Was it planned? It came by chance? And like, how did it work out? Like, can you tell me that journey? And after how much time you started interview?
So interview, Shark Tank happened 2 years into the journey. We never wanted to go to Shark Tank, honestly. Couple of folks in my team really pushed that bhai Shark Tank mein jao, because you'll get a lot of eyeballs. Shark Tank has massive reach in India. People will get to know what we are doing. And I was like, we are a B2B platform. If I go on Shark Tank, B2B deals are anyway going to be run by my sales folks. What will I go do at Shark Tank? I was very, very wrong, by the way, because when the show aired at TV, we got massive eyeballs. In fact, I remember when the show aired, couple of months down the line, I went to a very large enterprise here in Bangalore only to give a demo. उन्होंने सेल्फी लिया मुझसे पहले, मेरे साथ पहले कॉन्फ्रेंस रूम में गया डेमो देने, सेल्फी लिया पहले कि सेल्फी ले लेते पहले, डेमो बाद में कर लेना. सो आई काइंड ऑफ उधर से मेरा आंख खुला कि शार्क टैंक का व्यूअरशिप बहुत ज़्यादा है. एंड while it might not allow a B2B user to transact on your platform directly, but it will definitely build some rapport with the B2B users so that they become top of the funnel, and then it's up to your sales team. You can expand your top of the funnel and actually close those people. So I think everybody who's building in India Shark Tank.
तो थोड़ा जर्नी बताओ कि how did, like, you were not aligned, your team was dead on. तो वो प्रोसेस क्या था? यू अप्लाई, लाइक हाउ वाज दैट जर्नी? वो कितने दिन का पीरियड था? थोड़ा सा इफ यू कैन डीप डाइव अराउंड प्रिपरेशन किस तरीके की होती है? वेयर यू कैमरा साई बिफोर दैट, और यू वर कॉन्फिडेंट कि नहीं मेरे को तो जाना है एंड आई विल जस्ट रॉक इट? जस्ट इफ यू कैन टेल फ्यू जर्नी, बिकॉज़ मेनी पीपल आर क्यूरियस अराउंड कि पूरा प्रोसेस कैसा होता है? How is the, the preparation for it? How does it feel like first 30 seconds of going inside and being in it?
इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है। मेरे को शार्क टैंक का फॉर्म ही नहीं भरना था।
Okay.
एंड द पीपल हु वर पुशिंग अस, हम पार्टी से आए थे और 11:45 हो गए थे, 12 बजे फॉर्म बंद हो रहा था। उन्होंने बोला बैठ के भर दो प्लीज,
Okay.
और भर दिया बस। लिटरली इट्स लाइक ब्रूटल ट्रूथ यही है। बैठ के लैपटॉप खोला और फॉर्म भर दिया। एंड फॉर्म भरा, उसके बाद एक और फॉर्म आया, वो भी भरा। एंड आफ्टर कपल ऑफ फॉर्म्स वी वर कॉल्ड फॉर इन पर्सन ऑडिशन हियर इन बैंगलोर ओनली। देयर टीम केम। वो इन पर्सन ऑडिशन हुआ। दैट ऑडिशन लास्टेड फॉर लाइक 2.5 hours। वो ऑडिशन के बाद उन्होंने बोला ओके वी हैव टेकन योर रिकॉर्डिंग, विल फिगर आउट एंड लेट यू नो इफ यू आर कमिंग टू बॉम्बे फॉर द शूट। एंड आफ्टर दैट वी गॉट अ कॉल, वी वेंट फॉर द शूट एंड हम लोग फिल्म सिटी गए। It was a very very different environment, very
So as soon
different.
as you hear the news that I'm going Mumbai, right? Then the whole thing changed. Now it's the time. Now I'm going on air. तो फिर
नहीं
वो preparation,
नहीं, I was like okay जाना है एंड 2 दिन के लिए जाना है, कुछ शूट है वो करके। लिटरली इट वाज लाइक दैट। एंड मुझे लग रहा था कि ओके 2 दिन मैं जा रहा हूँ और पीछे बहुत कम छूट जाएगा, मैं काम नहीं कर पाऊंगा। और बट चले जाता हूँ 2 दिन के लिए। अब बुलाया तो, और फिल्म सिटी, आई वाज एक्चुअली एक्साइटेड टू सी फिल्म सिटी कि फिल्म सिटी कैसी होती है।
Okay.
बट इसके लिए कुछ ज्यादा एक्साइटमेंट नहीं था कि वो शार्क टैंक शूट हो रहा है और मैं टीवी पे आऊंगा, ऐसा सोच नहीं रहा
That's
था।
one part of it, but then
Yeah.
also the preparation, because not only excited about coming on the TV, but you know that कि मेरा मैच सही दिखना चाहिए, मेरा प्रिपरेशन सही दिखना चाहिए, मेरा पिच सही दिखना चाहिए, because the whole India will be looking at. So वो कितने लोग काम कर रहे थे आपके पिच डेक पे? कितने लोग आइडियाज पे काम कर रहे थे कि बोलना क्या है, क्या नंबर्स प्रेजेंट करने हैं?
मैं ऑनेस्ट ट्रूथ बताऊंगा, जीरो
Okay.
जीरो। देयर वाज नो प्रिपरेशन,
Okay.
नो प्रिपरेशन एट ऑल।
Was it a confidence or was it a negligence?
नो, मेरे को लगता है द प्रिपरेशन, आप अगर आप शार्क टैंक को देखो, यू आर पिचिंग टू अ बंच ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स, एंड इफ यू हैव पिच्ड टू अ बंच ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स, इफ यू हैव सोल्ड प्रोडक्ट, योर ओन प्रोडक्ट टू 500 कंपनीज एंड पिच्ड योर ओन प्रोडक्ट 5000 टाइम्स, यू डोंट नीड प्रिपरेशन फॉर इट। अब आपको वही चीज़ आके कैमरा के आगे करनी है, तो इसलिए प्रिपरेशन नहीं था, प्रिपरेशन चाहिए ही नहीं था। इट वॉज ऑलवेज लाइक कि मुझे जो हम प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं उसका सबसे ज़्यादा पता है। अगर मुझे नहीं पता तो फिर मैं कैसे का एंटरप्रेन्योर?
Fair.
येस आई कैन लर्न, बट इफ आई कीप माई आइज एंड ईयर्स ओपन, बट जो चीज़ें मैं बोल रहा हूँ दोज थिंग्स विल बी करेक्ट, क्योंकि मैंने वो हार्ड अर्न तरीके से सीखी हैं। अब उसकी प्रेपरेशन मैं थ्योरी में तो कर ही नहीं सकता, वो प्रेपरेशन प्रैक्टिकलिटी में होगी। द ओनली प्रेपरेशन दैट वी डिड जब हम फिल्म सिटी गए थे वाज द 2 minutes pitch, because that's the only preparation
Do
they
you
asked.
still remember that first line of what you spoke there?
हाँ, तो फर्स्ट लाइन इट वाज ड्रामेटिक कि राहुल इंटरव्यूज हो गए, एंड आई वाज लाइक काम करूं या इंटरव्यू लूं। सो या हमने वो 2 मिनट की पिच तैयार करी थी, एंड उसके अलावा नथिंग, इट्स कम्प्लीटली अनस्क्रिप्टेड।
Okay.
पीपल पुट
So now
क्वेश्चन।
you are there. पहले मिनट का वाला pitch हो गया है, and then you are getting such a huge, applause, good feedback from so many people, right? Was that you expected that I'll get such feedback?
नॉट रियली, मैंने इतना सोचा ही नहीं था। मुझे मुझे हमेशा से कॉन्फिडेंस था कि अगर मैं पिच करूंगा तो लोग सुनेंगे, क्योंकि मैंने 500 बार 5000 बार प्रोडक्ट पिच कर लिया, लोग सुनते हैं। तो आई रिमेंबर शार्क टैंक में जब हम गए थे, वहाँ पे द डायरेक्टर ऑफ द शो, आई वोंट नेम द पर्सन, शी केम टू मी, शी सेड राहुल आप ये कैसे समझाओगे, इतना टेक्निकल प्रोडक्ट है। मैंने बोला हम ना डेमो देंगे और 10-12 मिनट लगेंगे। शी सेड 10-12 मिनट, दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू लिसन टू यू फॉर 10-12 मिनट, यू हैव टू रैप अप योर होल प्रोडक्ट डेमो इन 2 minutes। मैंने बोला मैडम जब मैं पिच करता हूँ ना, 15-20 मिनट का भी मैं दूंगा ना, आधे घंटे का भी दूंगा, वो सुनेंगे, आई विल मेक इट इंटरेस्टिंग इनफ। तो उसके बाद शी वेंट अराउंड एंड टोल्ड पीपल इन द सेट कि राहुल के पास मत जाओ, वो संभाल लेगा, वो काफ़ी कॉन्फिडेंट है, वो संभाल लेगा। नाउ व्हेन आई वाज एंटरिंग द टैंक, आई रिमेंबर देयर वाज अ गाय हु सेड राहुल अंदर कोई कट्स नहीं है, इट इज़ कम्प्लीटली अनस्क्रिप्टेड, तुम्हारा जो 2 मिनट का पिच है वो देना, उसके बाद जो तुम्हें क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे उसका आंसर देना, बट इफ़ यू मैस अप इन फ्रंट ऑफ द नेशन, इफ़ यू शाइन इन फ्रंट ऑफ द नेशन, दैट्स इट। तो यही लाइन मुझे याद है। एंड उसके बाद आई गॉट रियली पम्प्ड अप, आई वाज लाइक मैस अप क्यों करना है, शाइन करेंगे, बस दैट्स इट।
So now this episode is done. You're back. Did you anticipate this is going to be such a huge hit?
नहीं,
Or
बिल्कुल
did you anticipate any kind of outcome that we'll get as a part of this?
तो जब जा रहा था टैंक के अंदर तब तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं सोच रहा था, बट जब टैंक से बाहर आया था तब मुझे पता था कि हाँ दिस शो विल बी लाइक्ड, क्योंकि मैं रिवर्स इंजीनियर करता था पूरा शो कि मुझे क्या सवाल पूछे गए, मैंने क्या आंसर दिया उसका, इट विल बी लाइक्ड फॉर श्योर।
So what was the impact of it? So once you're back, the show is aired now. What was the impact that you saw?
Huge impact. I think our website traffic, हमारा website traffic was 2,000 users a month. It went to the day the show aired, it crossed a lakh on the day the show aired, and that kind of affected a lot of top of the funnel for us. And then post that there was a normalcy period, so there was a peak and there was normalcy, and normalcy also was in lakhs. So I think people got to know about the brand, which
You're still today a B2B product.
B2B product.
Yeah.
We have a B2C play as well, where we take mock interviews for people and probably sticking it onto on your laptop screen. In on our platform, we catch hold of 4 out of these 6 scenarios. We cannot catch hold if there is a friend in the room. There are ways to do it, but you can't make it foolproof. Of course, if you really want a binary answer to it, we catch 4. The other 2, the human, we rely on the human who's there, taking the interview to catch. Because if the person is really taking cues, you can really ask very, very deep follow-on questions from to the person, and gauge if the person actually has a knowledge or is the person cheating. But mostly I would say we are able to catch hold of these scenarios at a 99% efficacy mark.
So do you think this whole process of interview itself should evolve? Because very lately, I think a couple of months back, I was reading Meta just announced, because they feel that they cannot stop people from using AI in the
Yeah.
interview. They said that we'll allow people to use AI in the interview itself, and we'll change our interview process itself. That even if they want to leverage AI to answer the questions, they still will have to apply the brain. And anyways, when they come in the company, they anyway use AI. So it's not about not letting them use AI, but understanding that even using that, if they're able to do it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the company like yours should also start working in that direction? Have you started thinking on those lines to suggest companies, or Indian companies or the company that you work with are not ready to that stage to accept your suggestions on those lines?
There is a mental model that I have to this. Interestingly, hiring market is super fragmented. Person sitting in New York versus a person sitting in Bombay versus a person sitting in London, they'll follow very, very different interview process to hire for the same let's say position. But the mental model that I follow is, अगर आप इसको बहुत एक्सट्रीम लेयर पे एक्सट्रापोलेट कर दो, बहुत एक्सट्रीम लेयर पे, AI एरा में अगर सब कुछ AI को करना है, then you need to have only 3 skills. One might be the ability to learn anything under 24 hours, because AI is evolving so fast and new technology will come tomorrow. A new skill might come tomorrow and you have to learn it under 24 hours to be employable now. If I really take it to an extremity, right? The second thing might be you have to become a figure it out person, because anything can change tomorrow. So figure it out, figure out how you can be employable, figure out how you can get that next set of job. Third thing might be ability to thrive in uncertainty. ये बहुत ही जेनरिक है, बट अगर इसको मैं बहुत स्पेसिफिक टू मेटा अप्लाई करूँ, स्पेसिफिक टू गूगल अप्लाई करूँ, any company that hires for that business need, because they want to unlock that next set of KPI, to unlock that next set of revenue, to affect their P&L in a certain way, to bring a new product out in the market or enhance a newer product. Now suddenly जो मैंने generic statement बोली वो थोड़ी specific बन जाती है. जब वो थोड़ी specific बनती है, अब imagine करो Meta is hiring for a front end developer, I don't know, Meta को front end developer चाहिए, तो I would say yes, Gen AI use करने दो. Gen AI तो use करना चाहिए, because job में भी वो यही करेंगे, right? They will use all the cursors and claudes of the world. But जब वो ये hire कर रहे हैं, you can't forget the fundamentals of, now you have to at a core level define what those fundamentals actually are. For example, I would love if I have asked a candidate a conceptual question around performance. They are using their conceptual knowledge of performance to ask Gen AI to do a certain task, versus they don't know what performance is. So I think the parameters across which you gauge the candidate might change slightly. It will change. You can still use Gen AI, but when the parameters change, you kind of keep evolving those parameters with the evolving tech, so that you can evolve your interview process as well. So everything kind of should have objective parameters around it, but I think you have to kind of draw a thin line where you can say कि ये यहाँ तक लिमिट है Gen AI यूज हो सकता है, एंड कॉन्सेप्चुअल नॉलेज भी आउटसोर्स कर दी, फिर उसके बाद इंजीनियरिंग आउटसोर्स कर दी, फिर उसके बाद इंटेलेक्ट आउटसोर्स कर दिया, ब्रेन ही आउटसोर्स कर दिया. There you have to draw a line. It depends on the specific job.
Right. So fair point. But at the same time, Rahul, when I hear all of this concept of taking interviews online over Zoom or a Meet or any other tool as such, I don't see there's any real innovation there.
Yeah.
It's same almost for the last many years, right? And I think it's just so many for last many years that I feel that is a boring solution now, right? And it definitely needs a disruptive change where you would like to take this to the next level.
What do you mean by boring?
By boring, I mean something which is same for a long period of time, repetitive, which has not changed, I'll say that I need a little change in it, a little
Okay.
improvement. When you have talked about all of these, I understand that you have identified what are the broken pieces are there at all the places. You have tried to find the fix of all of this, build that perfect solution. I'll give a classic example. There was a company called Sulekha long back,
Mhm.
right? Very widely used. Housing.com came up. They tried to figure it out what are the broken pieces into that, brought with a very UI experience, and they just were all the places in the market. Other reasons why it failed later on. Here also, I see that there are multiple solution which is coming up there. You have identified a space, you have fixed that up, come up with a good UI UX, good tech play, and the processes that you put in, and you have been able to solve the problem. That's great, right? But what do you see? What would be the next leap of innovation? Would you like to continue the same thing for the next 5 years to go, or do you see this whole way how interviews are being done today is going to change in the coming years to come? And how do you see it's headed towards?
I honestly think the next set of product and whosoever is going to build might be us, might be someone else in the market. I think what they have to really crack is context around interviews. I think that's completely broken. When I say context around interviews, if I go to any org today and I ask a hiring manager from that org that, hey, can you confidently tell me that if there are two interviewers in your org and they are interviewing the same candidate, will they interview the same way and will they have the same outcome? I think that is what is broken. There is no standardization within the same org with their own internal teams because every internal interviewer interviews different. Same applies to a talent acquisition person as well. If I let's say a talent acquisition person from an XYZ company is calling me for a job tomorrow, this person has been told by the hiring manager to hire this sort of a talent, but the person doesn't have any tech knowledge. They have a tech idea. They don't have a tech knowledge to how to gauge me. I think there are a lot of broken cracks, and largely when a hiring manager tells a talent acquisition person about a position that they want to close, and this talent acquisition person now goes onto the market and searches for the talent, there's a lot. It works like Chinese whisper. वो A का A1 बन जाता है, A1 का A2 बन जाता है, and suddenly A2 becomes a B, and that is why there is a huge funnel. इसीलिए इतने interview round भी हो रहे हैं, right?
Right.
I think a solution that has to solve for context. And when I say context, there's a huge gap in technical know-how that exists between a hiring manager and a TA. Doesn't matter tech job है या non-tech job है, marketing की भी technicalities की know-how missing है. अगर वो missing है, I think we can use right technology. It might be your LLM models of the world or AIs of the world to put there and bridge that gap so that it doesn't become a Chinese whisper. If that stops becoming a Chinese whisper, we get very very close to the hiring manager. Maybe enter their brain. I don't know. And if we can get as close as possible to that hiring manager, I think this funnel can become a cylinder. And if this funnel can become a cylinder, that is where a true business tomorrow building the next sort of technical solution will crack the market. I don't think there's a need of a new Zoom or a Google Meets to crack interviewing per se. I think what is needed is context around it. Because this is just a tool to take the interview. I think
think
context
that
needs to be
what
cracked.
you added kind of supports my hypothesis to a next level. Said that when you talked about the context and you talk about the unbiased, because to some extent when the two people will be there has to be bias, and to some extent it's important also because in a company itself there are four different teams and each teams work with a different ethos and they have to be biased for what kind they're building itself. But if you have to bring that uniformity, I think that whole human angle has to come out of it and it has to have the uniformity. So are you signaling towards a direction where maybe tomorrow, right now you're working with like 200 or 300 software developers across the company, which again might be a scale problem because the human is involved? Can we see 3 years down the line, your company, instead of humans, it's all bots, it's all agentic AI, well trained, well groomed, up to the level which can give a very uniform interview experience to all the candidates that come up? Do you see, are we headed towards that? Do you see any time coming soon where instead of actual people taking interview in your platform, you'd love to have the bots do that?
I honestly don't think so. Can bots automate the mundane stuff that happens in talent acquisition and interview? Interview is a big portion of it.
And why you are so strong, doubtful about it?
With current state of the art, current state of the art is not there.
I'm talking about 3 years down the line with the change in the, if you see the slope at which the whole AI
The
is
sort of
evolving.
plateau, don't you think? We've gone
Not
to like
yet.
89%. There are SOTA scores and like a lot of scores around some benchmarking that is happening. But
I think the different school of thoughts.
yeah,
Even the few people are so bullish that maybe in 3 years we're going to see the AGI altogether, leave everything apart, right? So there are different schools of thoughts which is around. But yeah, I would like to hear your thoughts. Like, you strongly feel that that's not gonna be anytime soon?
I don't. So okay. So I don't know if it'll happen in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Is that a possibility? If the state of the art evolves, yes. Can it be possibly done in the current state of the art? Let's kind of break down that problem. If I were to break down that problem today, the current state of the art is we have LLM models, we have some voice models, and we kind of combine them to build a vertical SaaS platform, which kind of takes interviews and replaces a human. We build avatars around it, kind of humanize the whole thing, and make this AI understand the context of hiring and make the AI do the job. This might be the possible solution, right? Let's see what's missing. First of all, today the state of the art is not that. When I say not that evolved, let's go a layer deeper. I think hiring as a play, if I were to say a Coca-Cola is hiring, and Coca-Cola kind of outsources or not outsources, asks a bot to take their initial round of interview, which is the second hurdle as a society that we have to cross if ever there has to be AI interviews implemented at scale. I honestly think the world should invest less money in cracking AI interviews, should invest more money in cracking hidden cracks in hiring, which are plenty, huge, way more than interviews.
Right. Perfect. Let's come back and let's try to address few questions that have in the current trend of the hiring itself. In the past, people have been. If I just focus on the tech, because that's most of the janta who's hearing us will be interested in. In the past, people have been hiring engineers like front end engineers, back end database engineers. Then came that the mixed one, full stack developers, full stack AI engineers. If I talk about the last 6 month trend, what are the few new hot roles, any new terminology that you have got through? I would love to hear कि आजकल नए नए नाम्स और क्या क्या आ रहा है जिस profiles के लिए लोग. There's something I heard, forward deployed engineers, which is trending a lot. So if you can give me few names. What
Agentic
are
engineers, forward deployed engineers, your regular profiles like front end, back end, data science, full stack, Android, iOS, baked in with agentic engineering, baked in with using vibe coding, baked in with using LLM models,
so
all
what
of
are the
that.
top three on your platform? What are the top three profiles in the tech for which you guys are interviewing the most right
Full
now?
stack,
Full stack
full stack
developer.
would be top of the chart.
Like
Back
out
end
of 100%, what percentage of the jobs or interviews would be on the full stack development?
30%, 30
30%.
to 40%.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what are the others? Other big chunk?
might be around back end. Back end continues to evolve,
Yeah.
but kind of now has a flavor of back end for front end. Kind of now has somewhat flavor for front end as well, which kind of makes it full stack. But not, some people are okay with not finding that ideal full stack developer. But in all of this, a common thing that I have started to see is your AI knowledge is one, but deployment release engineering is another aspect, which has come up in
Hmm.
every job because if you don't know how to ship, then you are like sort of an incomplete engineer. So release engineering is a must have for many roles. Deployment, releasing, the engineering that happens there is a must have for many roles.
So AI is a buzzword right now, and almost every college has been selling things around the AI, and people are doing data science course, machine learning course. And this I've been telling to the student many of the times. Any company who's actually doing a real work on the AI or a data science, they might not hire you at a BTech level, right? But this words looks very trendy, and people feel doing full stack development might not be that cool today if the AI and the machine learning is not involved into. I want you to tell me that how much are the jobs when I talk about the pure AI engineers roles for a fresher or a pure data science role for a fresher, like how much do you see compared to a full stack developer right now in the market?
I think full stack developer tops the chart. It tops the chart. AI engineers will follow, but this world is evolving so fast that I remember back in the day there was a job around vibe coding engineer. But now when I go out read articles, they say vibe coding is dead. The new era is agentic engineering.
Yeah.
And you have
I
to
think similar trend was for the prompt engineers. I think it
yeah,
was
yeah,
one of the
100%.
hot jobs sometime
Yes.
back, but now the AI has evolved enough. There
Yeah.
is no meaning of writing
Now
a
they
right
say AI
prompt.
will write its own prompt. You have to
Yeah.
reverse engineer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think this market is changing very rapidly. But I think if I had to go back to a college grad and tell them what to learn, I think I would ask them to focus on computer science fundamentals. That's like a must-have. Still get into computer science because it improves you in problem-solving skills in life. Uh, I have that bias. I think if you solve enough computer science problems and you break down real world problems into computer science problems, you become like a good person at problem solving in general. I think you should do that, and then you should develop a knack to kind of hop from a Python to a Java to becoming a language agnostic person to pretty much adopting any horizontal tech stack tomorrow. That is the knack that they should develop. I don't think an engineer of tomorrow should get too specialized into just cracking machine learning, to specialize into just cracking front end. I think you should be a horizontal engineer, unless you know certain things that you can put your brains to, which I don't think India में इतना research job available है जहाँ पे आप इतना vertically deep चले जाओ कि आप एक चीज़ में इतने फाड़ बन गए हो कि आप उसी चीज़ की रिसर्च बहुत अच्छी कर सकते हो और उस पर PhD कर ली. I don't know इंडिया में आपको उसकी opportunities मिलेंगी नहीं, unless you want to go to India still evolving from that POV. But अगर आपको इंडिया में ही रहना है और आपको इंडिया में ही जॉब करनी है, I think you should have a knack to build, to ship, and that kind of involves multiple technologies and a knack to just hop on from one technology to another and use every technology to enable you to build.
Fair point. So at the School of Tech that we are building, we are starting admission this cycle itself. But we are at a very unique juncture right now. What we are today and what the whole space will be in. Any student who takes admission 26, they will pass out somewhere around 29-30.
Yeah.
I believe by 29-30 things will be very much changed, because in the last 2 years itself, from the first version of ChatGPT which was in the market and what we have right now, I think we have seen a humongous change. And by 30, I think the whole space will evolve. You already succinctly explained what the student should learn around, but I would like to take your take on that. Let's say that if you have been in my shoes and you had to suggest students and teach for the next 4 years, I'll tell you, my students at School of Tech, they will be learning definitely around building how LLMs are built. We are also teaching them quantum, which I feel is a new wave that's going to come around. Right now the foundation of the computer is 0 and 1,
Yeah.
which going to change with the qubits concept coming
Yeah.
with the quantum
Yeah.
itself. And I think 3 years, 4 years down the line, I think everything has to be rewritten for the quantum safe world. So we are also teaching our student quantum, which I think very less institutes in the country are providing that. Plus, we are making them ready for being the solopreneurs, because not everyone interested today is willing to have the 9 to 5 jobs. What else do you think we should do at School of Tech? Because this is, I'm talking to every founder, every techie who comes to this, and I'm taking their suggestion. And if you agree upon, we would like to have you sometime in our campus, talk to the students, be a regular visit, because the kind of things the industry can teach the students, I believe hardly a book can. So what additional thing that you can suggest me that I could add into my curriculum, into my structures, which you feel will make students ready for the interviews in the coming days to come?
I think there's a huge gap that I see the engineers of today have, and they're still evolving because they're also figuring it out with the AI era. And I think if AI is so much upon us and they're going to take away the building part of it and make it super easy, I think a lot of engineers of today have to learn to connect with business use cases. I think a lot of engineers are not able to do that well. And a lot of engineers that I meet, and I'm not talking about the engineers that work at interview, but I'm talking about engineers outside of it. They see everything as a Jira ticket and a task that has been given to them, and kind of they want to resolve it. But I think if they have an end-to-end understanding of the business impact and understand really the whys behind it, it can make them 10x better, and they can then use any technology at their disposal to build something. I think I would be very interested to see how that sort of a thing can be inculcated in a curriculum. Maybe making the engineers of tomorrow a figure it out person. So they can pretty much figure it out in any uncertainty or any AI taking over the world, that what they have to do tomorrow. And the way you make a person figure it out is make them fail very, very fast in multiple things, so that you can tell them how much they suck, honestly. And if they know how much they suck, they can learn newer things faster, and then failure will not be that big thing that अरे हम fail हो गए. It should be like हाँ fail तो daily होते हैं, तो what's next, what do we do next? I think if that can be inculcated in a curriculum somehow which is hands-on enough to, because at the end of the day it's a psychological war, right? So it's hands-on enough to make somebody so strong psychologically that they can adopt anything in the AI era. I think that'll be a big thing. I don't know if anybody is doing that in India. I think India really needs it, because we have to very, very fast. There are a lot of big product-based companies that have now come out of India, but India needs a lot more than what it is today. Moving from a service-based to a product-based economy, I think we need more builders. And if that can be inculcated in engineers and they can become builders tomorrow, worst case, even if they fail, they'll become a 10x better employee, 10x better. And we'll have 10x better companies coming out of India.
So Rahul, exactly that's what we are trying to do here. So we say that anyone who comes in, there's a 3 tracks that gets open for a student. One definitely is that we teach them the computer science fundamentals, and that's must. Maths is the core DNA that we teach to the students, because we feel anything that you do, the core of that is math itself. And then we teach everything which around artificial intelligence, building that core foundational models. That's one track which takes you deeper. And if you want to go deep also, at upGrad, we are partnered with more than 400 universities. We're present in 75 countries. So we have that DNA where we can bring the best of the people from IITs, IC across the globe to give that, deep research expertise. But at the same time, because Ronnie being the co-founder of the company himself, we want, because when I was doing my engineering at that time, ID कर लिया, IIM कर लो, right? BTech के बाद एक MBA करना was a must, and then you used to feel कि तभी company चला पाओगे या फिर you are in the management role itself. But today I believe that whole thing has changed. I believe 4 years of engineering is enough if you invest your time in the right way possible. And that's why we want our students who are learning tech, they should also understand what the business is, companies बनाते कैसे हैं. Now ये सारी company colleges आज के डेट में कर रही हैं, but for that they have just put a placeholder solution.
I think it's a no-brainer to do.
Awesome. And Rahul, would you volunteer to come sometime in our institute, talk to the students, talk
100%.
about your learnings?
100%.
And that will be a huge, huge learning for all the students which will be there at the campus. Now we have come to a very interesting segment, which we call it as a rapid fire round. Okay, where I'll ask you questions and you don't have to think. You don't have to give your polished version and you don't have to give any analogy. Okay, and you just have to answer it straight, right? So the question one is, AI is screening resume, scheduling interviews, writing job descriptions. What one thing in hiring it will never replace?
Interviews.
Okay, biggest lie told in tech hiring by companies, not candidates.
We hire the best talent.
Okay, resume or GitHub profile, which tells you more about an engineer in 60 seconds.
GitHub profile.
GitHub profile?
Yeah.
Okay. And what if a student who is not overexposed, but then there's no point because typically if it's a techie, then he has to be on GitHub.
Yeah.
One thing a candidate does in the first 5 minutes of a technical interview that immediately signals greatness.
I don't know, explain about the toughest engineering problem that they've solved if it's an engineer. Explain about the toughest problem that they've solved in life, in their career, if non-engineer.
Okay. India versus the world. Where does Indian engineers' talent genuinely punch above its weight?
I think Indian engineers are problem solvers. And that's because of the way the nation is designed today. We have problems all around us. So I think naturally Indian engineers have that bent of mind to be problem solvers. बट आई थिंक इंडिया, इसलिए इंडिया में हर छोटी चीज़ का जुगाड़ आ जाता है. जुगाड़ करना है, ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगी, इससे ऐसा हो जाएगा. बट आई थिंक वेयर दे लैक इज वर्टिकल डेप्थ.
Okay, so you took 3,000 interviews personally. If you had to write one question that every technical interview should always include, what is it?
Tell me the toughest problem that you have solved and explain it to me as if it was a 100-mark question.
After taking 3,000 interviews, this is a personal question. Many of times students I see, they fake in the interviews. Are you able to figure it out?
Yeah, very easily. They use so many jargon sometimes, just so easy to catch.
Okay. Speed of the hire or quality of hire, which kills companies more?
Speed of hire or quality of hire, which I think both have to kind of go hand in hand. But I would say speed more because quality is very, very important.
Okay. Dipinder said ditto, ye mera chota bhai hai. I think that's what he called you. Vinita said sharpest picture. Aman said rocket sing. If you could only be remembered by one of these three, which is your favorite one?
Sharpest picture.
Achha. Finish this sentence. The way the world hires engineers in 2030 will look like?
I think there'll be a voice command that you will give to a device, and the device will do a lot of stuff for you.
Okay. One thing you wish every student knew before their first technical interview?
How does businesses work?
Okay. So Rahul, we have been talking about the Shark Tank. Now we have seen what happened and we really loved it. But we'd like to hear your perspective कि जब वो सारी चीज़ें बातें हो रही थी कैसा आप फील कर रहे हो, तो exactly जब आप उस समय सुन रहे हो तो did you realize that how big that word was? Because मुझे लगता है आप काफ़ी लोग उस नाम से आपको बुलाते होंगे when you go outside. So tell us the entire experience on that day.
मतलब उस वक्त कुछ नहीं लगा था, but when after the episode aired and I started going to busier places like airports, etc., people started calling me, Rocket Singh, we want a photo with you, which was very weird to hear, but it was actually good also because it kind of reinforces that behavior in you that okay, maybe you're good at something, and maybe that people recognize you for that, and you kind of do more effort to become better at that. So
ये एपिसोड होने के बाद, since you know the people have started recognizing, did you put some effort कि मैं अपना social media presence बनाता हूँ? I should turn myself into an influencer now because more people are knowing. Because indirect way it's marketing your company, right? Because
100%. So if any idea around building my LinkedIn or building my Instagram came around, it was just to build interview, just to make sure because founder brand in today's era plays a big role. uh, I think especially for some businesses, it can actually become a moat.
Yeah.
Can crack distribution for you from the get-go. Tomorrow you want to launch a new product, you have eyeballs already. You don't
Yeah.
need to go to a Shark Tank.
Yeah.
That's why building social media is very, very important. That's why I'm also doing it.
Did that help?
100%. Yes.
Okay. So on the fun side, I believe on the same episode, you also get an offer from Dipinder that he wanted to give you a Series A funding, but you declined very politely. Why so? Like, not many company gets a Series A funding on a national TV.
So first of all, I think the valuation was not fair. Second, I think it was a very small amount for a Series A. It was just
Okay.
5 crores. So it didn't make sense for the business. I mean, the business was already doing in crores when we went to Shark Tank. It's much more than that. The expenditures of the business are much more higher. So 5 crore leke kuch hota nahi. So that's why I had to decline.
Okay.
Cool. Vishwa, I have a question. So I honestly think there's a huge gap that exists between a candidate studying in a college and what the industry wants.
Yeah.
Huge gap. How are you kind of mitigating that gap in terms of what you're building?
Yeah, Rahul, I think you have exactly banged on the problem. और मैं इसको खुद personally correlate करता हूँ. I'll just give you a context so that you know understand how seriously we are about it. I'm a passer in 2011, long back, in one of the most prestigious colleges of the country. At that time also, people used to say that what is taught in the college and what is needed in the industry, there's a huge gap. हम 2026 में हैं, I think the problem still holds true, but the gap has become much more deeper. हर 3 महीने के बाद Samilton एक नया मॉडल ड्रॉप कर देता है. And when I'm talking about 26, it's not 26. जो इस साल बच्चा एडमिशन लेगा, they're going to come out in 2029 and 30. I believe no one knows what the space of technology will look like. Unfortunately, जो हमारा current education system है, 2006 I was into my college, whatever the curriculum a computer science student used to study. 2026 में एक टॉप कॉलेज को मैं कंपेयर करूँ, आई थिंक नॉट मच हैज चेंज्ड. तो एक बात तो क्लियर है कि जो हम पढ़ा रहे हैं उससे कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला है, राइट? सो एट द स्कूल ऑफ टेक, this is where we want to bring the change and the disruption. And for that, what we have done, I myself come with the industry with more than 15 years experience. And then I have made a collegium of people who are working in all the top tech giants, who are actually the torch bearers of tech. And we have figured it out at where the tech is evolving. And I think that's why we are also doing the conversation with the people like you to understand, where we are headed towards. And we have realized that there are few core computer science fundamental concepts which are intact, which was relevant 50 साल पहले भी और वो अगले 20 साल तक भी चेंज नहीं हो रहा है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैथमेटिक्स, फॉर एग्जाम्पल ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम कॉन्सेप्ट्स, for example computer fundamentals like networking, how internet works. These are the core concepts which every student should know. And in this age of AI, when everyone is taking shortcut, they're trying to jump over it, right? That's one. And then there are few things which are more relevant, which changes over a period of time. See, 4 years down the line, I strongly feel there will be two types of jobs on a high level, जिसमें से 96-97% वो होंगे जो AI को यूज करने वाले होंगे, राइट? AI एडॉप्टर्स, राइट? AI के मेड सॉल्यूशंस को लेवरेज करेंगे, वो शायद AI को यूज करके डिजिटल मार्केटिंग कर रहे होंगे, AI को यूज करके कोड लिख रहे होंगे, AI को यूज करके डॉक्यूमेंट्स बना रहे होंगे, AI को यूज करके PPT बना रहे होंगे, राइट? एंड देन वेरी स्मॉल सेक्शन ऑफ द पीपल व्हिच इज लाइक 2 to 3% पीपल विल बी द ओनली वन who will be actually making these AI models, who will be disrupting the tech. अगर अभी भी आज डेट में देखो, there are very few companies, 4-5 हैं जो रियल फाउंडेशन मॉडल्स बना रहे हैं, जो मिला बुला के करीब 500-600 लोग होंगे टोटल जो एक्चुअली डिस्ट्रप्शन कर रहे हैं, और उनका एक कोड बिलियंस को इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है, विच इज पूरा अनइवन इसने इकोनॉमिक कर्व को ही बना दिया है, राइट? आई वॉन्ट माई स्टूडेंट्स हु आर स्टडिंग इन द स्कूल ऑफ टेक टू बी अमंग दोज टॉप 1% टेकीज. तो जिस तरीके से हम उसको पढ़ा रहे हैं वो एक तो ये है कि वी टीच थिंग्स विच इज रेलिवेंट. And not only today, so we say that every 6 months we'll keep on updating the curriculum, because I don't know, I have made a curriculum for the 3rd year, but I don't know when I go in 3rd year it will still remain same. I don't know, right? So I'll keep on changing it every 3 months. That's the first step that we have taken. The second we do is that instead of bringing a conventional PhDs come and teach into the classrooms, we feel that PhDs are good. They're good for research. They're good for academics or for getting the marks. But no one is doing engineering today just for doing the marks.
Yeah.
That was only for 10th and 12th, right? Here you are here for becoming a professional, to start something or do some deep research. So यहाँ पे हमने जो पढ़ाने वाला बंदा है उसको चेंज कर दिया. So instead of asking a PhD to come and teach the class, we bring people who have a good academic credibility, but they are industry professionals.
Okay.
And वी आर नॉट टेकिंग शॉर्टकट्स कि किसी को एक दिन के लिए बुलाया और बोला कि मास्टर क्लास ले लो गूगल से आके, या माइक्रोसॉफ्ट के बंदा को बुलाया और एक हफ्ते के लिए पढ़वा दिया. वी आर टेकिंग देम ऑन आवर पेरोल. What it means that we are hiring, of late we have just hired a guy from Google who has a salary of more than 1 crore. We have taken them on our payroll and they're coming in the classroom and teaching, and likewise all the faculties. A normal university में अगर आप देखोगे एक जो PhD है, with all due respect and I don't want to negate that, but normally they don't have enough incentives, they don't have enough salaries to stretch themselves. We want to make sure that we bring the best professionals, put them on our payroll, teach into the classroom. So that जो tech बना रहा है वही सिखा रहा है कि बनाते कैसे from the day one itself. That's number 2. Number 3 is that we have changed the way how the teaching happens. So पूरा दिन 2 पार्ट में डिवाइड होगा. पार्ट 1 में हम कॉन्सेप्ट्स बता रहे होंगे और सेकंड पार्ट में हम इंडस्ट्री से वो प्रॉब्लम लाके उसको डे 1 से सॉल्व कर रहे होंगे. एग्जांपल के लिए अगर मैं ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पढ़ा रहा हूँ तो मैं ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पढ़ाऊंगा एंड देयर आर फ्यू मेनी कंपनीज आर वर्किंग ऑन द एजेंटिक OS these days. I'll try to bring those problem statements, teach them the concept, and then make these startups do give problems to my students from the day one itself, right? So this way my students are getting ready for the jobs from the day one. And last but not the least, conventionally हम लोग एक बीटेक का आउटकम 4 साल के बाद देखते हैं कि 4 साल के बाद जॉब लगी, क्या लगी, इज द आउटकम. वी हैव ब्रोकन डाउन इनटू द ईयरली स्टेप्स. हर ईयर का एक माइलस्टोन है. ईयर 1 के बाद वी हैव सेट सम माइलस्टोन कि बच्चा अगर कोडिंग में इंटरेस्ट है तो ही शुड डू समथिंग इन ICPC or other competitive coding profiles, right? If he's interested in startup, he should have that MVP already created, or he should identify the areas in which he want to work upon, right? If he is interested in the deep research, then we align it to the top professors ताकि वो अगले 3-4 साल उसी लाइन में काम करे. So this entire ecosystem we provided, and when we do all of this, that's why I play with the ecosystem that we have built at the upGrad. जब मैं कह रहा हूँ कि हाई पेइंग जॉब अपने बच्चों को दिलाऊंगा, आई एम टेलिंग इट सो कॉन्फिडेंट बिकॉज ऑफ लेट जस्ट because we are starting the School of Tech, we just acquired a company called as Internshala, which is the world's largest internship portal. मेरा स्टूडेंट 800 या 1000 जो इस साल एडमिशन लेगा उसके लिए 10,000 इंटर्नशिप अपॉर्चुनिटीज इंटर्नशाला पे हैं, which gives him the unfair advantage which no other institute in the country, including the IITs, can offer to that students. We have another company which helps in hiring, which is called as Recruit, right? So my job, when I say that I teach them best, and I also provide that ecosystem so that they have enough opportunities. When I say that startup, no one could be better than Ronnie to, train someone how the startups are built. He has seen multiple IPO cycles. He is himself a billionaire. He has invested in more than 100 companies. He was the shark in a Shark Tank last time. He is personally going to mentor students and put his own funds for the students who really have a great idea. तो हम कह रहे हैं कि तुमको startup सिखाएंगे भी और आइडिया है तो फंडिंग भी हम ही देंगे ताकि यू सी द मार्केट विंग्स एंड देन आई गिव यू द करियर सिक्योरिटी फॉर द एंटायर लाइफ कि बाद में अगर स्टार्टअप नहीं चला यू कैन ऑलवेज कम बैक एंड वी हेल्प यू विद द जॉब्स. अगर आपको रिसर्च करना है, अगर आपको बाहर जाना है, वी हैव अ पार्टनरशिप विद मोर देन 300 यूनिवर्सिटीज. सो वी प्रोवाइड दैट एंटायर इकोसिस्टम एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी फील दैट वी आर वन ऑफ द मोस्ट एंड वी प्रोवाइड द अनड्यू एडवांटेज टू द स्टूडेंट्स who wants to really make it big in the next coming years to come.
Very cool.
Yeah. Awesome, Rahul. I think we have been talking for a long time, and I know personally, sincerely, honestly speaking, I didn't realize that how long we have been talking.
Yeah.
We can keep on doing it, but we understand you have a time limitation. It's pretty late. We are covering and recording it on a weekend, late night. But I'm really thankful that you came here. You talked to us so candidly. You took all the hard questions. You also talked about highs. You talked about the lows. How candidly you accepted your failures. And I think that's a good message to everyone. So I really enjoy talking to you. A lot of personal learning for me as well. And I hope to see you more in my campus when we start the School of Tech. But before we end, if one closing statement or one line to every budding engineers that is watching it, if you have to give, I think they would love to hear you one closing line from yours.
I think more than an engineer, you should look at becoming a builder. Look at becoming a problem solver, and get to understand how businesses work. I think it'll make you a better engineer.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.